Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, and the topic for the day is called Sky Time. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening November 22nd through the 28th, 2021, and it is show number 134. Now I'm going to show a couple of alternate cover slides. As again, I was toying with which one to go with. We will cover these coming up in the show as well. And there we go. And so now, before we get into the sky observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobrohonia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, guten dag, and good day. Now, we've got this starter image today. It's the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day, page 1 of 2, combined with the greetings from around the world. Stick around for page 2 because it's a lot of fun, at least I think so, before we jump into the sky observations, or feel free to skip ahead to the sky observations if this is not your cup of tea, so to speak. But for everybody else, I just want to show this image of 3 ibis in a driveway I saw the other day. And it just reminds me and fits so well with the overwhelming message of the day that was coming through to me today to share with you. So looking at these ibis, they're at various stages of age or development. So from the outside appearance, I don't know if they came as old souls and they have other wisdoms, but we'll just look at, 3D earthly age. You can tell the young ones because they've got the more brown, to dark gray feathers. And what happens is those eventually fall away and they become more or less white. They do have some black tips on the wings underneath when they open up their wings. So all that to say, we've got 3 here at different, so to speak, ages or phases of life. And what that's reminding me of is the quote-unquote age and phases of awakening. So as I've mentioned on other shows, I went through a massive, awakening or great awakening back in 2010. And it's been quite a road ever since then. And that all to say that even though it was a great awakening, I already came on this planet with a lot of wisdom. So yes, I'm an old soul, so to speak. You come into the world and you just automatically, I knew just certain things just did not seem right. Even though the rest of the world seemed to be operating under a certain set of systems and codes and things, nothing sat right with me. And so I always challenged authority in ways, more, quiet observational ways, nothing, outlandish, but just really observed what was going on and what just felt wrong. And an example of that was when I was in about 3rd grade, and there was, I was in a public school at the time in the United States, and they used to, and they still do these quote-unquote fire drills. And so you would, a bell, of course, a bell would ring. I've talked about how that irks me to no end, that, children are under a bell system to come and go from classes. It really is a severe form of programming and the Pavlov dog type of response. But anyway, of course, there was a bell. And so, the teachers would round up the children, and then you would be, walking, in the younger grades, in younger ages, you'd be in single file and, leaving the school and being on the outside perimeter of the school. And in this case, we were outside on a sidewalk, standing there, right next to a chain link fence, looking back toward the school. And I just remember thinking it was a very, very poignant and profound moment in my life. Even then, at about, 7 or 8 years old. I remember looking back in at the school through the chain fence thinking, that's a prison in there. I had the outside perspective looking in, and we're fenced in like little prisoners. So that was pretty, quite an understanding to come to. And then I looked down on my hand, and I remember thinking, I can't take this anymore. This kind of system, like, why are they having, us kids in there, like, under a bell system and with a fence? And it just seemed wrong, everything about it. When we should be out in the field playing or learning under a tree, And instead we're in these concrete boxes, and they had picked the most nasty color scheme for the outside of the building and the finishes inside for the flooring and the walls. Just everything about it screamed wrong to me. But anyway, I remember looking down at my hand outside the fence as we're in this fire drill, and I literally remember counting on my 2 little hands with my little fingers, oh my God, how many more years of this kind of a thing do I have to endure? Like, it really was severe for me. And so I remember going, third grade, fourth, fifth, sixth, and I'm like, oh my God. And then if there's university or college after that, I don't think I could take this. And so I remember that, very clearly at that age. So I'm just bringing that up, that little personal story, because it just showed a level of awareness that, hey, something ain't right here. And of course, it's carried with me all this time. So the message is your time will come. That time is now. And I feel that we're entering into that time where I'm like, now I can finally say, wow, there are other people waking up now, and that are coming into this understanding as well. And I'm showing the three, and okay, I came up in the 60s, 70s. So there are other people that have been enduring this far longer than I have, even for decades. So my hat, if I had a hat on, I tip my hat to you. And the feeling of if you awaken early, it's like you showed up way too early to the party, so to speak. It's like you've got all your preparations out on the table. You're so excited to host a party, have people come in and have a good time. And it's like, your party is set and ready to go, and you got that enthusiasm ramped up, and then it's like your guests aren't coming for 10 to 20 years later. It's tough. So this is a little personal shout out to anybody who has awakened even earlier than 2010. Man, I feel for you and for myself. And if you are new to it, you're one of the smart ones coming in toward closer to the party time. But anyway, also I want to say that if you are younger, to anybody who happens to find this channel and you're on the younger side, on planet years, not wisdom years, I just want to say I'm so happy you're here because your generations are the ones that come more or less already equipped, so you're going to have an easier ride and help us all keep our vibrations high on this planet. Anyway, all that to say, we've got various stages of development of these Ibis. So the brown to gray feathers start to shed away, and then they become this white version. So a seemingly different version, but it's still the same core, the same heart, the same spirit. And so anyway, that's all I want to say about this is your time will come. The time is now. So anybody who's here also right now not sure what they're doing here on this planet, or it feels really bad and you just want to leave it. I mean, that's a common theme for a lot of us here now that are like, okay, we know we came here for something. That's more than just working a job and paying taxes. What do we do? Well, that time now is coming, and I feel it strongly. Again, having observed this stuff for quite some time now, and just seeing now a rapid increase in people, quote unquote, waking up. It's a beautiful thing. I think, our momentum is really, really building now. And instead of waiting decades and whatnot, things are happening so much quicker now. Even the younger children coming up are saying, yeah, time seems to be going really fast. So it's not just a age, perception thing of older people think time's speeding up. No, everyone across the generational board are starting to feel this. So anyway, I hope that made sense to you. If not, don't worry about it. But I want to get to another little fun slide coming up here. So on this theme again, your time will come. That time is now. So I love this scene. It's just a meme off of the internet. I give credit to whoever posted it. It says, his arrival was foretold in the ancient murals. And I just love this. He kind of looks like a deer in the headlights, or dazed and confused. And then he doesn't look any more clear about what's going on down here. So I just love this. So this also harkens back to what I was talking about. I kind of feel like, I knew I was here for something, and it just nothing was making sense about it. And then bam, we're dropped into here, and these two will start to connect and make sense. So anyway, let's get into the sky observations portion of the show. Okay, now this is starting off on November 22nd. This is a very odd morning looking east because we had a lot of fog, a lot of like mist and haze. And what was odd about that is, these images are coming from South Florida, the Miami area, and we generally don't even have that. And the conditions in the sky and the atmosphere and the temperature didn't even seem like such that would be generating all that fog. So that was just curious in and of itself. Oh, and before I really jump too far, whether you're new or returning to the channel here, thank you so much for being here. I extend a heartfelt thanks to all of you. If you're new, I'll just give a really quick intro. So if you are returning, you may want to skip this a bit for a couple minutes. If you're new, I am just going around looking 360 degrees around me each day. It only takes maybe 2 to 5 minutes a day as I'm coming and going around Miami, Florida, or it might even be in the evening. and I just look up. And I encourage each and every one of you to do that if you're not doing it already. Just really look around you and observe looking up. And if you have a handheld device, like a camera phone, just start to take pictures if you see, or more importantly, feel something different in the sky, or something just doesn't seem quite right. And more often than not, you're going to find in that photo later, you'll start to see something appear, like when you go inside and whatnot. So what I do to help see things a little bit more clearly, because our eyes can only see a limited range right now. The camera phones and other devices like that have a much vaster range of photo and light sensitivity. So what I do is I take the image and I run it up on a little platform such as PowerPoint. It could be anything really, if you have a Photoshop or whatever. And I just edit attributes of the photo, such as contrast, brightness, color saturation, maybe color temperature, and I just up the levels a little or lower them a little. And then a whole new world of information starts to pop up, as you can see here as an example. I get a whole new color, color signatures pop up, and are very revealing. Other things start to happen in the enhanced version of the photo that really start to show what's going on in our skies and cut through the smoke and mirrors, so to speak. So there's a lot of particulate being sprayed artificially in our air. There's other artificial clouds being generated in the sky. I'm just going to leave it at the quick version for now. And it's creating a thick, like soupy veil, so we can't really see what's going on in the sky. At the same time, we've got a solar simulator or artificial sun technology employed. A lot of people don't even realize that. Our true sun, our original warm, slightly pulsing, healing light quality of our sun, it's been hijacked. And I'm not sure the exact year. Could be somewhere around 2015, 2016, there was a changeover. And now the sun, the quote-unquote sun, is white and glaring. It radiates the skin. People on the beach, say, hey, I feel more like my skin's microwave, not like a typical sunburn where yeah, it would hurt, but it felt somehow healing at the same time. So there have been a lot of changes going on that a lot of people aren't aware. And I only came into this heightened awareness about all of this in 2018. And so I understand, not everybody's looking at this stuff. But I invite you to look at other YouTube and Earth and Sky Watching channels on the, Earth and Sky Watching channels on YouTube. Because they're people, just like myself or yourself would be, going out, making direct observations in the sky and saying, hey, these are, there's some strange anomalies happening up in the sky these days. And that's all I'm doing here. Oh, hold on, sorry. I'm sorry, I lost my voice for a second. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just going and making direct observations. And through this process, I have been noting increasingly more and more different types of phenomenon, and they're pretty mind-expanding, pretty eye-opening, and we'll get to those. So anyway, I'm referring to things as strange cloud activity down here. When I say cloud in quotes, I'm referring to cloaking craft that I'm starting to see in the skies. And when I say cloaking, the cloaking material I'm going to refer to as plasma. That's going to be my go-to, referring to something heavier and denser than water vapor that can really cling in the air and last for hours or around objects and help conceal them very well. And when I'm saying cloaking craft, yes, I am referring to something that's 3D, that you could theoretically walk up and touch it and knock on it. Or it could be something very ephemeral and ghost-like that's interdimensional. Or it could be something that is 3D that's phasing in and out of state, or it can be some type of supernatural phenomenon that we just don't quite understand with our limited understanding here on Earth. And I'm talking about that as being mostly everything that I'm seeing is, yes, of some type of extraterrestrial origin. Maybe it's interterrestrial, inner-Earth stuff. I do support that for very good reasons, that's very likely in some cases. But all that to say, whether it's basic ET tech or advanced, who knows? Could it be a collaboration with humans as well? Absolutely. But I don't believe, because of the scale of some of these things and the intricacy of how they cloak, that it's anything that's just purely, human derived without help, let's just say. All right, so there's going to be a lot more to this. I also drop in some letters, as you can see, just to better highlight some things and to not let me lose sight of some key topics going on in the photo. You're going to see in some of these scenes there's more going on, a lot of different, not in this one, but there's going to be some scenes where there's a lot of activity, let's just say, and I'm not going to be able to cover it all. So if I skip over something, even if it's like seems pretty obvious and you're like, why didn't she cover that? That's not intentional. I'm just like keying in on whatever moves me at the time. So if I happen to pass over something that you really had rathered me talk about, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to run it up and talk about it in a future show. All right, that's enough said for now. So in this case, as I said, we had a lot of fog, and on top of that, there was a lot of particulate, artificial particulate happening in the sky. And so we have this, I'm just going to say it, artificial sun or tech or effects of the artificial sun. Oh, and I will touch on that a bit too right now. Why not? So why is there an artificial sun? It's a very good question. One, I do believe there's something that has impacted, and it's starting to dim out our original sun a little bit. Nothing bad or alarming. It's just, I think, a natural regeneration process of what it is. But that might be part of the reason why some whatever entities have run up this tech. But at the same time, there's also a lot of strong evidence of another planetary body with its own little, subplanets or whatever orbiting, coming into very close proximity to our, atmosphere, or our planet, let's just say. And the key evidence of that is showing up on the channel, YouTube channel. I highly recommend you go check it out. The Final Days, and DAYS, and that is showing. I mean, she is looking at cameras in Alaska and other places, aviation cams that really show clear examples that these things are starting to happen. And I'm not on board with all of the religious views, so I have a very more open, expansive view with, it's a spirituality based, take that I have on things. And so I'm not into gloom and doom. I'm not into, oh my God, the planet's going to be destroyed. No, absolutely not. I think we're just going through a shift or a change, and that it will be harmonious for all. There's no, massive destruction. And if that were even to happen, none of us are going to be here to experience that. I believe we'll shift off in a very happy way. But anyway, all that to say, if you look over there, you'll see some objects nearing our planet, and they're being hidden by this thick, not only thick particulate, but also this glaring technique off of this artificial sun, which is controllable. It can, expand and get very big and glaring to hide some of the objects coming in beyond, or it can go down to the size of a pinhole, and you're going to see that in a minute, and our true sun wouldn't be able to do that. It just wouldn't. So here we go. We're going to look at the enhanced version. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, since I did kind of elaborate a lot on the beginning. But here we've got this white glare ball, and then we've got warm signatures. So we've got an overlap of red, pink, and then like gold beyond. And so the gold effects could be the original sun happening beyond. The red pink is another story. Now I do invite you to look at the description box below to see what could be causing this red pink signature. Could be something very local in that sky, in the atmosphere, or it could be something bigger, beyond. So we'll leave it at that. All right, so now looking north in the morning as well, just all of this seemed, again, really fuzzy, hazy, weird particulate, absolutely artificial. I've lived on this planet for many decades. I keenly observe my environment, including the skies wherever I am. I've lived around the world, and this just is not, I'll just say it ain't right, to be a little colloquial about it. So anyway, this is one of those where I had more of a feeling of something going on rather than seeing it with the naked eye. And so with some enhancement, this is what I'm talking about. This is the whole level, new range of things that we can see with a little bit of the enhancement. And so, I'm sorry, hold on one more second. Okay, I'm back. So, I think you can see it along with me. We've got three distinct, let's just say activities going on. And they look very sphere-like, So we've got the red-pink signature again. It looks like this thing is lifting up out of whatever this mass is going down here. And then we have the golden one, but when we also have some white-blue, which looks very ethereal, this light source, whatever is going on, isn't like a part of the natural, sky. So I do look at that as like energy signatures and bursts of activity happening whenever we see, either warmer tones or this, white-blue. And then we got a weird shadow, kind of moving in here. It looks pretty ominous, but I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, let's see what else is happening. So now this is looking southeast in the morning, and again, look at this, all just felt strange. It's not like typical cloud. And then this is my point of where we have a pinhole. So if you remember on the previous slide, the sun was like bigger and like more of a big glow ball, and now it's a pinhole. Now is that the same thing that we were looking at that was big and glaring? I don't think so. So this little object has a clear line around it. We're going to zoom in on it in a minute. And so I believe that's either an artificial or some other celestial body happening in front of what's the so-called sun, which I think is also still the artificial sun. So we've got a brighter illumination happening beyond, which if this were the sun, there's no way we could have that effect where we have an object, kind of backlit by some other illuminating object. And so anyway, we look to the right and, we just see there's some type of object back in here, and we get this different, more blue tone color signature. So that shows me there's some type of machine part or something sticking out of cloaking material here beyond. We have a very straight line here, a very straight line here, and here as well, and that would just not be a typical cloud form. Okay, here's now, we're zooming in on that little thing I was telling you. Now we have like a pinhole effect, but it's got such a clear line around it with even like a shadow behind it, so I'm saying that there's no way that's our original sun. And again, it can't be because we've got illuminating stuff happening behind it, and so that means there's a light body, a body generating light behind it. So what's going on here? There are a lot of theories. I've also captured it clearly in other shows, previous shows of mine. Have fun digging around on that one on your own and put some pieces together for yourself on this one. All right, so here's another view. We've got clear, other light sources going on around this thing, so that ain't the sun, period, hands down. We also have, curiously enough, warm signatures happening around here and really cold blue ones happening here. So there's a lot of, let's just say, craft activity or just different types of technology going on up in this area that's not natural sky. Okay, now this is looking east in the morning, and there was a lot of interesting kind of turbulence and stuff that just did not seem, again, normal. This cloud formation, so that's not cumulus clouds. You look at the edge, the kind of ragtag, disintegrating nature of this, that's artificial cloud. And, oh, actually, I thought I updated this, sorry. This should say B. We're going to look at this little thing down here in a minute. Anyway, we've got a sky imprint, we've got a clear curved line, straight edge here, same thing echoing over here. And so, just seemed for sure that we've got some activity going on. So we look to the right, and we've got, look at this clear rim, like a hole, or just like the outline, like a basketball hoop almost. Maybe something spherical happening in here with texture on it. It's very odd, whatever the case, something's definitely going on up here. And again, we've got a straight line, cutouts, or sky imprints doing their own thing. So I'm going to say that's cloaking craft and activity, cloaking craft activity happening there for sure. Now we're going on into that other thing. I was going to call these B, but you know what I mean now. Sorry, I'm just referring to this thing right over here at the rim of the cloud. And this starts to get very curious too, because we look over here and we have not only these like ribs, these parallel lines, but we also have like a hole at the end here. So what the heck is this thing? I'm venturing to say it's some type of cloaking craft. Maybe we're just seeing part of one, but that's not a natural cloud form. No way. All right, now we're looking to the east, and this gets really choppy and fuzzy. And I call that effect the staccato cloud effect just because it does seem very choppy and dissonant. And what I believe is causing that is some type of craft or multiple craft above this layer that are sending out electromagnetic wave activity or some other kind of wave or frequencies to locally disturb the atmosphere. Why? One, to better cloak and conceal craft, or two, it's just a natural side effect of whatever power source is on the craft, or three, it's a combination of both, or four, something else. But anyway, I'm going to go with number three, it's a combination of both. But what caught my attention was this cloud or particulate was starting to move across, and I started to catch an edge or a corner of something that I thought was cloaking beyond. So we looked to the right, and there's that little corner. So I knew, and I just felt it too, there was a more solid object hiding behind all of this stuff, let's just say. Okay, we're zooming in on it, and here's that corner. See, I started to see, I don't know if you can see it on this view, a triangular form. And so I, put the enhancement on it to try to get at what that was, and I still just kind of see it in here. But this is one of those where I just had an overwhelmingly feeling that, yep, that is some type of craft. See what you think as always. And also, a little footnote here, I do narrate the show viewing this on a bigger laptop screen. And so if you're watching this on a smaller screen, like a more thumbnail size handheld device, you're going to see very different things than what I see when I'm narrating. So it's very possible I missed something. So when I play the show back later, I look at two different devices. So I look up at the big screen and I look down at the small screen. And inevitably I go, oh, I missed that. If I had a smaller screen, I would have seen it. So that's just a little, side effect of my doing the show this way. But it's good because see what you see. And as I always say, if you see something I don't see, feel free to put it in the comment section below if you feel like it. All right, so now we're going to go looking east, and this was just a strange, odd collection of totally different types of clouds in one place, in one altitude. Makes absolutely no sense from a typical sky point of view. So again, I'm in subtropical to tropical South Florida, where we only ever had decades, growing up here on this planet. Cumulus clouds would just predictably go across. We might have some kind of cirrus clouds or something, but they don't look like the ones today. And anyway, they would predictably move across. Now that's when we did have wind, and I've talked about that in other shows too. That's been oddly missing for many years. I mean, we get an occasional windy day. Now we're very close to the coast and should always have a steady, nice current of wind just from temperature differential creating that. And oddly enough, there's been no wind. And there's theories on that too, that there was an Eastern Gulf current that got killed off back in like 2012. And I believe it because, there should always be some type of nice breeze. And it's been weirdly absent. I mean, like to the point where I could count it, for the last 3 years, maybe on two hands, maybe using the feet too, how many times we've had a more natural wind. So we've just been experiencing so many changes. Also absence of rainbows, all kinds of things for this area. Anyway, all that to say, back to our little oddity here. We've got a different kind of cloud. I can't even call that a cloud. This stuff is all artificial of some means. A is like a totally dark pointed ellipse diving down. We've got this weird choppy bits of things. This is yet again a different color. Then we've got this like fan or wedge-shaped thing erupting straight up out and spreading out. I call them puddle clouds sometimes because the upper rim will start to just spread and grow like a puddle of water on the floor. And then this is coming down on its own angle, and then this is coming across straight. So totally bizarre, totally artificial clouds happening all over the scene. So with enhancement, we start to just, see a little bit more. We've got all these different types of things happening right in direct proximity to each other, essentially. Shouldn't be happening that way. So I zoom in again, and right away this is telling me there's artificial pieces popping up out of this thing, so that's cloak and craft. Also, we've got a straight edge here, like a right angle popping up out of here. That tells me absolutely that's cloak and craft. There are little pieces popping up out of here as well. Do look at some of my previous shows. I'm not going to go into too much detail why I'm saying this. I just have enough experience now in the previous 100-some-odd shows to show you that's what's going on. Now, f.2, it's looking more and more like a cloak and craft back here, and we're going to zoom in on that and enhance it a bit more, to kind of get at what are these little parts and pieces. Can't get at too much more other than you can see there's a lot of texture, a lot of things kind of sticking out that would not happen in natural cloud activity, especially when you've got the overall movement of something, regardless that we've got hard edges with shadow to them, which wouldn't occur in natural clouds. But we also have like a line moving across this way and then something coming down more or less perpendicular, and you just don't have these kinds of movements in a natural cloud formation. Now we're going to go back and look at that puddle cloud billowing up and spreading out. Again, not at all normal looking, I'll just say. And then here, look at this. We've got like a point, like this is a disc with like a shield, if you will, like with a point coming out at us, like a conical form. Really weird. And then talk about weird D.3. That's just not a natural cloud. So we look at it with some enhancement. Can't really get it to what's going on down here. But look at this. We've got like this darker ring. And again, we've got movement coming down an angle and then bam, going straight up. And then ringing, hooking around here. I mean, that's just not a natural cloud. And then something that looks like it's, coming through it. So that is a different color signature at D.4. So that also might be a craft coming through, something else. This is just an oddity. I couldn't get at too much more what that is as well. All right, then we're going to look east and kind of look at what's going on with this activity. And I thought we were going to reveal a lot that this was cloak and craft here, again, because it's like a darker gray, insanely low in the sky. But then it turned out that A was our little, reveal. So when I got to here, on the right-hand side, I couldn't really pull out anything much more of detail or interest here on our little gray cloud mass. But then this popped up as a very clear feature, and this is on the cover, of a pointed ellipse with a groove across it, and we're actually going to go in, zoom in a little more. Now this is very bitmappy on a bigger screen. If you squint, you'll see it better, or if you have a smaller handheld device with a more thumbnail size of the scene, you'll see it much clearer. But anyway, look at, we've got a clear line with shadow to it. It is a pointed ellipse of some kind. I'm calling that a craft. See what you think. All right, now we look west and toward the evening, and this was just an odd thing, kind of odd man out, floating up there, and with little weird pieces, as we see, kind of like fraying off of it. So, and something strange happening down here. So again, we're going to zoom in, let's check this out with some enhancement. Now this is a really weird effect I haven't really seen before. I don't know how we have this like darker shadow. It looks like it's overlaying this object. This looks like little craft offshoots or companion scout craft, who knows, or sensors of some type, instrumentation. When I say craft, I'm referring to something that, yes, it could be piloted by, by a being. It could be, remotely operated. It could also just be some kind of instrumentation. I don't know, something taking readings, a sensor or whatnot. But anyway, or scoutcraft or whatever. So these are clearly little bits, though, that have their own propulsion. I don't know, see what you think is going on. And then how do we have anything in these color ranges, and then this is dark and a totally different animal? Look, we got little sticks and weird little crazy things popping off the perimeter of this thing. So that can't be natural. Not natural at all. But see what you think. All right, this is really looking odd too. What's going on here? And again, these weird shadows being cast that I haven't really seen before, operating in that way. And, look at that. It's like, what's illuminating to create a shadow like that? It's just really bizarre. So I don't really get too many answers on this one. This one's pretty mystifying and a stumper for the show. See what you see in that scene. Also keep in mind the different color signatures happening. Just here, nowhere else. Okay, now this is looking east over a roof of a big building. And, I'm just catching the end of something. But you see this weird little texture, these little bright points. I talk about that in their shows whenever you see these really bright points on the background of something darker, whether it's a grayscale or color. It shows me that there's intelligent, cloak and craft going on. Sometimes it's in the form of little crystalline, even triangular forms. And then over here at B, there's this weird texture. Seems like there's a vapor trail coming behind it. All telltale signs of cloak and craft. And then look down here, we're getting like rectangular objects, shapes of them. So that's not natural cloud activity. No way. And now we look with enhancement, we get the color signatures popping up to better inform that, yes, we have an object here at B.1 with some other trail or some other object right next to it being cloaked behind, the cloaking material. And then this, look at this, again, we get these little weird bits and pieces that tell me that's, cloaking object or objects. We're going to zoom in one more time. This is one of my alternate cover slides. Look at this. We've got these straight lines with dimension to them. It's not like the surface of a walnut, but you know what I mean. We've got, texture. That's an object, not a cloud. And then we look over here and look, what's this? We get a kind of a more clear line with shadow and dimension. Again, strange things. That maybe a pipe or something sticking out here. Whatever the case, this is definitely like a stick-like form that you just wouldn't have in a natural cloud. Give me one more second, hold on. Okay, I'm back. And here's just another illustration, in your face, clear illustration looking east-southeast in the morning of this artificial tech or effects of solar tech doing something to, create artificial sun effect. That's all I'm going to say here. This is the turkey vulture, by the way, up in the corner. And then, so 1 minute, sorry, it's like this, bright and glaring. And the next, it's like completely hidden behind a branch. And she talks about this on that Final Days YouTube show as well, where it's an impossibility. Our original sun wouldn't be huge and then like just behind a stick or a pole just like disappear. And that's the effect that's happening here. Now on top of it, the artificial sun or solar simulator here, the bright white stuff, there's a red-pink glow beyond it. So again, look at my description box below of what could be generating that. Anyway, let's keep moving. Now this was encouraging. I just happened to see a spider web again. Where I'm at, there should always be these spider webs. This belongs to a crab spider. And I've been noticing those have been strangely absent for a very long time. So again, that's an indicator something is shifting and changing. And overall, with our atmosphere, our weather, all with the outdoor conditions. Anyway, and maybe also coming from different overall frequencies and changes outside the Earth and within the Earth. But anyway, I just enhanced it over here so you can see it a little bit better. And I was just happy to see that back again. All right, now we're looking to the northwest in the afternoon, about 2:45 in the afternoon. And this is another one of those where I'm like, okay, something just doesn't feel right. We've got some choppy staccato cloud effect where things seem a little choppy and fuzzy, even though everything else is, in clear focus. So I thought, okay, let's just go ahead and let's run this up on some enhancement. And here we go. And okay, so we got this bright burst of color, brightness, whiter brightness, which shouldn't be coming out of, this would be to the east, to the right, at this time of day. And we're looking north, not south, so this should not be happening. And then we get these weird little outcroppings, here and here. This looks like a downturned triangular form, more spherical form, and then something coming straight off this way, so what the heck? And then the most curious of all is what the heck is going on at 8.1? Look at this. This comes down and comes to a pure curve like a hook. And I can only presume that this is going like a mirrored image, this way. What the heck is that? That's an object. No question. And so we go here, and I just changed up some of the enhancement a bit to get different color signatures to kind of better pull out what we're looking at. But look at that. I have no answers other than that's absolutely a manufactured object with, intelligence behind it, intelligent design, and especially if it's going to be mirrored. And the other strangeness happening over here, as we still can see. And then one more view at 8.3, because it's just so dang strange. I've not seen anything like this since I've been doing this study, more intently, like since 2018, 2019. But look at this, perfect curve, on the back side of this thing. See what you think's happening there. That one's really curious. Okay, now we're going to look southeast at about the same time. And again, sky's looking weird. And so we look to the right at the enhancement. We don't get at too much more of what's going on, but these 3 points, actually 4, are very regularized, kind of equidistant spacing, going in a semicircle or like the top of a circle. So I'm going to say this is all part of a cloak and craft down here. And then I'm not sure what's going up here. Maybe you see something, but again, that's not natural. Oh, other than 8.1, it looks like, we've got, again, a rim or, end of a pipe or big hole where we've got a pure curve and a pure curve with different color signatures happening. I think this is a craft, and it's just like in between cloaking itself, or it's, just drawn out weird stuff to cloaking material to cloak whatever's going on up there. And again, look at our red-pink signature happening in here. Look at the description box below of what could be generating this, and I believe in this case it's something generating that local. Okay, now I looked to the left, I'm looking out, and again, this just looked weird. Mainly what caught my attention was we've got this thing going like vertically up while this is coming on a hard angle down. And then we look to the right with enhancement, and bam, all this stuff opens up. And we get a clear view now. At 8.1 is really a sphere. I didn't really pick that up when I was just looking over here. I knew something was off. But we really see it there with cloaking material in front of it. And then still, what the heck is going on between this dark mass and this dark mass? I can't tell you. But I can tell you that this is not natural cloud activity. All right, now, oh, sorry, give me one more minute. Or second, rather. Here I'm back. So now this was looking northwest a little later in the day, toward 5 o'clock. And again, we've got a horizontal-like moving thing, but yet something coming down on hard angles. So to me, it just looked like this is like the vapor trail of a craft that decided to just zoom down and like park itself right here. See what you think, but with some enhancement. Here we go. This could also be like the outer line of some other bigger craft, as we look at it here. This is coming to a point, this is coming down to a point. Still, we got some weird stuff happening here. We're going to zoom in a little more, and we see there's some kind of relation. Did this whole thing just decide to lift off of this other quote-unquote cloud body? I don't know. See what you think, but look at, we got a clear line here, like a clear line here, and a notch out. So again, this is intelligent design. I'm going to call that a cloak and craft. And maybe something like an appendage stuck onto it or docked to it, or this just happens to be a different craft floating by beyond it. See what you think. Okay, now this was odd because this was literally the odd man out, so to speak, looking toward the northeast in the afternoon. So of course it caught my attention. And so with some enhancement, look, we even have like a spherical form, it looks like, with a hole at the end of it happening here, or like the end of a pipe. So what's going on here exactly, I don't know. I did enlarge it and I really didn't get any more answers, but I am just going to say that this is a cloaking technique for something happening beyond it. Okay, now this is interesting because on the left-hand side, I just saw this clear notch out of, it looks like a truncated triangle, you know, trapezoid, you know. If we look to the right, we've got a straight line, more or less straight line, you know, straight line here at the top, and like a, you know, something coming down here. So what that is exactly, I don't know, but I'm gonna call it cloak and craft. And we zoom in one more time. Really don't get too many any more clarity, but maybe you do. See what you can find. All right, now we're looking up to the south, and it just looks strange because we have these standalone quote-unquote objects, because those aren't natural clouds, and then also just weird activity happening over here with that so-called cloud. So I'm just looking at it with some enhancement, see what I can pull out. Again, that's not behaving like normal cloud, especially over at 8.1. We zoom in on that and try to get at anything more. I don't really get to too much more other than it's behaving weirdly. And, you know, again, we got pure straight lines coming out of this stuff. I'm going to say there's cloak and craft activity of some type happening in there. All right, well, along with our theme, keeping with our theme or our message of the day, your time will come. That time is now. And I want to say thanks for taking a look at some things here a while with me. Somebody had propped up an inflatable Santa Claus in their yard in South Florida. And that's a whole nother topic of what all of that means when your eyes are truly open through an awakening. I'm not going to touch on that here in case we've got younger folk, but let's just focus on the spirit of giving, the spirit of not giving material things, but even just love, hugs, go out in the world and give that. And that's all I'll say for now. So thanks again for being here, everyone. I wish you a beautiful, glorious right now. Tremendous love and peace to all of you. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.